The following is a presentation of 13ABC Action News. Now, your table is ready. Join 13ABC's Jeff Smith with the decision makers of Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. This is the Roundtable.
And once again, welcome back to 13ABC's Roundtable program here on our station, and we're so glad to have you on this Sunday afternoon. As we start our program, the return of Roundtable, as we're kind of calling it, we want to focus on 2008 and what's ahead for a number of area municipalities. We're going to start off by introducing our guest to you this afternoon, and I want to begin by introducing you to Craig LaHote. He is a Perrysburg Township trustee, and Craig, right out of the gate, we're going to give you 30 seconds to kind of update people on where things stand right now in Perrysburg Township.
Okay, well, we had a very good year. Up in Route 20 area, we had Best Buy and Bed Bath & Beyond and Office Max stores open up there. The construction for the new Walmart facility is ongoing. Over in the Crossroads area, of course, the big news there is the store is going to open up this year in June, and when Bass Pro opens up, that's going to be a great boon to the whole area. All Northwest Ohio should benefit as we draw people from outside the area. And I think one of the big success stories, a huge success story in Perrysburg Township, is First Solar. Company went public end of '06 at about 20 bucks, I think, and stock's around 260 now. That company's growing. It's a great success story, and I think that helps address the brain drain issue that we've all heard a little bit about by providing local engineers and graduates a place to work.
All right, a lot to watch for in '08. Obviously, good successes in '07 to talk about. Craig, welcome. Thank you so much. Also with us, a Happy New Year we want to extend to Mayor Marge Brown from Oregon. Glad you're here. Glad you made the trip from the city on the bay. Give us an update on Oregon, will you?
Oh, and thank you for having us.
You bet.
This is excellent. What do we have going in Oregon? Well, you know, we have done a joint regional with the development with the Port Authority. We have an industrial area going in. We have our first business going in there. We have the BP announcement of $2.5 billion. We have Menards opening up this summer on I-280. We have a lot of infrastructure, closing of ditches, bikeways, revamping of Wheeling Street, beautification areas going along Navarre, maybe a new senior center. Hopefully it's on the books to be built. So we've done all the land acquisitions. Now we're going to put all the good stuff on the land.
All right, and a lot of good stuff to come for '08. Also want to welcome back Mayor Tim Wagener from Maumee. Happy New Year to you as well. He's not hobbling as much as he once was a few months ago before the holidays, but we're glad that we could give him a comfortable chair here on the round table.
Thank you, Jeff.
Go ahead, give us an update on Maumee.
Well, first of all, again, as Marge said, thanks for having us here today. It's always an enjoyable time to be here. Maumee, we've had obviously a very exciting year with the opening finally of the Shops of Fallen Timbers. It was a 10-year battle, and we ended up getting, I think, the best project for the region, and it has been extremely successful so far, and it just opened in October, and I'm anticipating as more and more stores begin to open, greater growth, and the entire region out there around it and surrounding it as it begins to develop, I think will become quite a partner with the Arrowhead growth that we've seen over the years and mimic that growth with not just retail but an entire business community to its own. And so we're very excited. A lot has been happening. We just had our 4th annual holiday light parade, which was attended by thousands. It's just amazing. And Maumee's up and
raring to go
for '08.
All right, Tim, thank you so much. And we also want to extend a welcome to Andy Glenn. He is Springfield Township trustee, and so many times Springfield Township just goes unsung, but this morning we want to get the word out, or this afternoon when you may be watching, about what's going on there and what's to come.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you guys actually recognizing some of the larger townships in the area. As you said, a lot of times they do go unnoticed. Springfield, we as everybody knows, we're one of the fastest growing communities in our Lucas County area. We spent last year as trustees focusing more on community building type programs. We have 30 acres of additional parkland behind our park on Angola Road. We're building some trails through there. We have secured a grant, a federal grant, where we're going to do a joint project with the Village of Holland to do a bike path that connects our park to Holland's parks. I think from the last I heard, the funding is now in place, and construction should start in a couple years on the underpass on McCord Road to go underneath the railroad tracks.
Boy, that's been years in talk.
And speaking with the county's going to put one of the first roundabouts in our area out at the intersection of Nebraska and King Roads.
Really?
Yep.
How about that? All right, so something to watch for in
Right.
08. Well, first, let's just kind of dive into what the economic health of this is the one thing I want to bring out this morning is obviously everybody kind of focuses year in and year out on how Toledo's doing. Obviously, the big brother to wherever part on the map it falls for each of you. And I want you guys to play doctor this morning and kind of give your checkup, if you will, on the city of Toledo and how is it helping to, I guess, spur growth as far as your areas are concerned? Obviously, you guys want to watch it do well. Craig, I'm going to start with you. You guys just went through some work with the city of Toledo, obviously, on the FedEx project and others. Talk about where you see things for the big brother to the north.
Well, obviously, we're connected at the hip, I guess. How Toledo develops kind of affects the whole region. And we've worked together with them in the FedEx facility and kind of see that as a win-win in keeping that company in Northwest Ohio. There's a lot has been talked about lately about the green effort that's going on, and we hope to see that continue to grow and diversify the local economy. Mm-hmm. And some of that's happening in Wood County, some of that's happening in Lucas County. I know there's been talk about something out on the lake, which I think would be a great benefit to us. And things of that nature that we can help cooperate with Toledo and bring to this region should help us all if we can diversify that economy. And we're members in Team and COG, and that's part of the vehicle that helps us all communicate and work on those issues.
Coming out of 07, amicable, would you say, the relationship?
Yes.
Okay. Simple enough question and simple enough answer. Marge, let's focus on Oregon. And obviously, we were talking about size. Just by a size standpoint, and people may not realize that they live here, but Oregon's huge.
It is huge.
You've got a lot of acreage out there, and being the buddy to the east, if you will, how is the relationship there, and what do you see as far as any roadblocks that exist with what Toledo's been doing in the past or will do in the future?
One of the things that's really brought up a lot of times, either at TMACOG or LCIC, as Toledo goes, so goes the region. Mm-hmm. And we have met the mayors outlying Wagener and Stowe and Waterville mayor.
Yeah.
We have met to see what we can do to hold our own in case Toledo goes under. But we have a relationship with Toledo regarding the Coke plant.
Right.
And we have an agreement there. And so, I mean, we're okay. We're okay. But if Toledo doesn't get their act together, it's going to hurt our whole region. And, I mean, we're not in this alone. This is a regional effort.
And that was one of the things that Carty Finkbeiner, when he went for re-election, Mayor Finkbeiner said, this has got to be a regional. He talked about the technology corridor that he wanted to expand and build. Has that happened? Enough?
Not enough, but let's talk region now. When I'm saying region, I'm not saying regional form of government. Mm-hmm. I'm saying a regional movement together. The LCIC is struggling again right now. It was on the right path with a good leader in Sean Ferguson. Now it's back to the beginning again. Mm-hmm. It was an excellent tool for economic development.
Watching it from Springfield Township, what does the health of the city of Toledo say to you? And obviously the Lucas County Improvement Corporation, or is that what, am I getting it corrected?
Right.
And that's very vital as far as Springfield. I mean, you've had growth, astounding growth in the last couple of years in Springfield Township.
Right, and like Marge said, we were completely pleased with the way LCIC was going out in Springfield. You may remember the townships really fought hard to make sure we got a seat on that board for LCIC because we felt it was very important for us to cooperate as a region to attract economic development here. I think one of the biggest things that is hurting us, specifically the city of Toledo right now, is our tax rate. You know, Ohio ranks 5th in the nation for tax rates from local and state taxes on citizens. The commissioners decide they want to build an arena downtown, and there wasn't any kind of research into the budget to see if it could be funded. There wasn't any searching for grants, to get some grants to help out to build it. The first and only decision was, let's raise taxes. Let's put 2% tax rates on the hotels. And I think that whole mindset that has been leading the city of Toledo and our county for probably the past 15, 20 years, that's what has led us to where we are right now. Nobody wants to think outside the box as far as accomplishing anything. They look at their budget, and if there's not enough money, they want to raise taxes instead of looking at their budget and realizing there's not enough money and cutting spending.
Is it leadership or is it lethargy?
I think it's both, actually.
Yeah.
The voters keep going to the polls and voting those people, same people right back in that raise the taxes. Sooner or later, I think it's going to come back in a huge way. I think there's going to be a big movement in Lucas County for change, because they're going to realize how high they're actually paying.
And here's hoping taxes don't go up to fund a Southwick plan in '08, and obviously that is very vital to the northernmost tip of Maumee.
Without a doubt. How Southwick and the region of Southwick, I don't think you could call it a Southwick region now, the actual building.
And I don't want to put out there this morning or this afternoon that taxes have even been brought up to fund Southwick.
Exactly. My concern is that I have talked to several of Toledo elected officials, is that the money that is generated, as you know, we have a joint economic development zone with Toledo that we actually fought in court over years ago, and on the shops of fallen timbers in the entire area out there. And 1/3 of the income tax generated from the shops of fallen timbers goes to Toledo. And I would say, why not earmark those dollars to refurbishing the entire Reynolds Road corridor that is the Southwick area? And so you're doing it without raising taxes. You're bringing it in from the revenue generated from the shops of fallen timbers. So instead of, it is disheartening when we hear in Maumee Toledo elected officials not supporting the shops of fallen timbers when they benefit financially from the success of the shops of fallen timbers. And you will see.
Have those ideas for allocation been voiced, or do they just fall on deaf ears?
I have not had an actual response to that, to that point. And I am not one that tells another form of city government, I don't appreciate anybody telling me how to run the city of Maumee, and I'm sure any other elected official doesn't like to hear the same about their community. But at the same time, these are dollars that are going to be coming into the city of Toledo, and those could be earmarked to the improvement of that region. And that region is very important to us. As you all know, there was a hotel at the corner of Reynolds and Heather Downs that was quite downtrodden, and luckily, and I want to congratulate Toledo for taking the bull by the horns and getting the eyesore torn down, which also was a very big crime hub, drug hub, and allegedly. And that all those things affect Maumee. I mean, it's just under the turnpike.
Yeah. Well, stay right there. When we come back, we've got our table turn segment where I'm going to have my guests asking questions of each other. A lot to get to on this edition of the Roundtable right after this.
This is the Roundtable.
Welcome back here on the Roundtable on this Sunday afternoon. We appreciate it. We're going to scrap the table turn segment for this week where the questions are being asked by the guests because we just got too much to talk about. And I wanted to ask both of my guests who are representing townships today, and I'll start with Craig. But watching what has happened in '07 with the city of Sylvania dealing with Sylvania Township and their fire issues, money issues, so on and so forth, does that give you pause in your dealings with the city of Perrysburg, being so close, having mutual aid agreements? And also the one thing that we talked about was the land issue that exists with you guys losing land year after year after year.
It's an interesting quandary for us because we're in one of the most rapidly growing areas in Northwest Ohio, and yet we're shrinking. And a lot of our employees always ask that question, will we still have a job, 20 years down the road? So it's an interesting thing for us to look at.
Because there's been merger talk out in Sylvania, and I'm sure you guys have had that just float around in certain
Our
circles.
situation's a little different because, I mean, our name is Perrysburg Township, and people equate us with Perrysburg, but we also are neighbors at Rossford, and a good portion of the students in Perrysburg Township go to Rossford schools, too. So it's not quite a situation where there's only one municipality against the township, and that would be our natural partner. We do have mutual aid. We have an automatic mutual aid agreement with the city of Perrysburg, so if there's a working fire reported, we automatically respond. We don't even have to be called. And that was put into place a couple dozen times last year, so that has worked well and is a great thing that we've done to cooperate. But in terms of how we might grow and emerge down the road, those are things that we keep looking at. But we always have to keep in mind that we've got, Rossford is also a good portion of the people in the township associate themselves with Rossford.
So in 10
it makes
years
our situation a little different.
Yeah, 10 years Perrysburg, is that what we're looking at?
Or Rossburg, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And I would go over to you as well, Andy, and just talk about Holland being so close. I mean, the whole Spring Meadows area is such a confusing land grab. When you look at it on a map, you've got certain businesses that are actually in Holland, Springfield Township, that kind of thing. But how tough is that relationship?
Actually, since I've been on the Board of Trustees, we've really worked hard to build a relationship where none existed before. In 4 years, there hasn't been any annexations of township land to the Village of Holland because we've been working in cooperation and thinking more as one area instead of being in competition against each other. What's going on up in Sylvania is really, I watch that with a close eye because of both areas. One, their fire district and their fire levies getting defeated. When we set up the agreement with Holland, we set it up a little different. We didn't do joint fire districts. We actually contract with the Village of Holland to provide them with the fire service. So the fire department is still wholly controlled by the township and its residents. And then the merger issue, obviously that gets our ears perked up whenever they start talking about that up there because townships will end up losing against municipalities in annexation fights. And right now, we've got that pretty well under control, but if a new municipality was on our northern border, obviously that'd be some concern to us.
All right, so no merger talk as of yet?
No.
All right. Looking into 08, obviously one of the things that happened back in 07 was the loss of the Ford plant, the stamping plant out in Maumee. And Tim, I wanted to bring up a letter that we received here at 13 ABC, which is sent through the Maumee Authority Stamping. You can't read that on your screen, I know that, but I'll just read an excerpt real quick. This is from Keith Obey. He is the man spearheading, a former plant manager, spearheading this effort to bring new business to the facility. He's trying to get Ford to sell it to his group. He says, I don't anticipate any problems environmentally. They're checking that facility right now for environmental issues. They expect a report come back on January 14th. Until that time, they don't think they're going to get ownership of that. Now, there's been delay after delay after delay at getting this. Tim, I will keep it plain and simple for you as mayor of Maumee and seeing this day in and day out. Do you feel positive or negative that this will be turned over to the hands of the Maumee Authority Stamping? And let's not put it that way. Let's put it just, do you think there's going to be a vital workforce going back into that facility?
Yeah, I'm confident there will be a vital workforce of some kind going back into that facility. I will say that one of the things is we talked about the problems that exist with the current LCIC. And as far as, excuse me, economic development being done publicly, until there's a contract between Ford and MAS, I'm hesitant to comment because all these things that go on behind the scenes are things that developers and business leaders do not want public until they are done. And until we in Maumee would see an actual signed contract from Ford. This has been, not an actual problem of MAS. What has actually happened is the contracts that Ford had throughout the nation. This is a world-class company, and those have affected specifically this property. And so whatever happens, throughout the world is affecting this small parcel.
And
in
obviously
the Ford
you're keeping
lot.
your fingers crossed.
And you're keeping your fingers crossed. Yes, you are. But again, you can't do economic development publicly, because I, as mayor, and I'm sure all of you as elected officials realize that one comment going one way or the other, when we did the Dana Tech Center.
30 seconds, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. When we did the Dana Tech Center with Toledo and Monclova Township, one word, one way, on one day from someone almost lost that deal because Dana wanted to notify its own employees of the deal. So we have to be very careful, and I think that's one of the problems regionally, is that these things get out to the public before they're signed, and then everybody's depressed when it doesn't happen. And I think we have to be very conscious of the fact that economic development is something that is not done in the media or publicly.
All right. You're not slamming the media right there.
Not
You're
at
just
all.
saying it happens.
Not at all. Not at all. We'll tell you about it when we got it. You got it.
Mayor, you mentioned something about seniors in our first segment.
Yes.
We're going to hit on that when we come back.
Very good.
Stay right there.
You know, you're absolutely right.
It's the cry for help that moved us all.
Call for tickets.
Welcome back to Roundtable program. We talked with Mayor Marge Brown just before we went to break. We went out and we talked to some residents in Oregon, and one of them in particular said, here's what they want to see in 08. Take a listen.
I think mostly about our seniors, you know, and providing for them and, you know, the people that really need the help.
Okay. Not enough's being done, would you put it that way? Or
I wouldn't say not enough's being done, but we need to focus on them. You know, they have served our community, and we need to make sure to take care of them.
Just one of your constituents. So
Yes.
what do you say as far as...
I have to ask you, were you at Bayshore Supper Club? 'Cause that's where she works.
I can't reveal my location. But what do you think about that? What can you do in 2008?
Well, it's really funny because in the budget is $3.5 million to build a new senior center, which we will do once we can find the money to operate it. We have the land, we have the road in, we have the parking lot in, which we use as in-kind services, and then we have the money for the planning, and then we have the money for the construction of it, if we find the money to operate it after we build it.
Well,
but yes, it's been on the books. There was a survey done by Stan Odesky, which there is a need for a new senior center in the city of Oregon.
Well, good stuff for the seniors there, and hopefully that answers
that'll answer
your
her question.
constituents' question. We also, Craig, we're out in Perrysburg Township, and we got one reaction from one certain gentleman.
Better up the roads. They're pretty bad out here.
Yeah.
During the winter time.
Yeah. He kept that plain and simple. I mean, do you, like Tim said, do you put that on Wood County? Or, I think he was talking not so much about snow, but he was talking about condition. What infrastructure stuff can you guys do in 08?
Well, roads are always an issue. I don't know if he was speaking about the snow or the general condition, but one of the issues that we run into, and you probably do too, Andy, we have a number of roads that are in the township, but they're maintained by other entities. Some of our major roads are county roads. We've got state highways. We've got federal highways. So I know sometimes when people ask about improvements, they think we're passing a buck when we say, well, that's not our road, but it's not our road. You know? And so that we'd have to know, I guess, which road specifically he was talking about. But we have an active program. Thompson Road is a very busy road with all the construction that's happened. That was just redone recently. Lime City Road is a county road, but that's going to see a lot of additional traffic now when Penna Career Center opens up. So we've suggested to the county engineer that we need to prioritize that and make sure that that's in good shape once we have all those new students.
Andy, I wanted to get over to you real quick, and one of the questions came up when I was out in Springfield Township was all the big box development, all the development in general, and you said you've got something in the works as far as like a Main Street USA.
Well, right, there's no developer that has come to us yet. What we've done is we've taken a proactive approach in working with the Village of Holland. We've identified an area that we feel would lend itself to that style of development.
And we're talking commercial?
Yeah.
Shops, residential,
mixed,
that kind of thing?
Yeah, mixed use, residential, commercial, just like Main Street in Maumee or in Oregon.
And plans coming forward in 08, huh?
Well, if we get all we want to do is get the tools in place for a developer to use. We don't want to build it. We don't want to buy the land.
I want to say Happy New Year to all you once again, and thank you so much for taking part in our Roundtable program. And thank you to you at home. We'll see you next time here on the Roundtable.
Thanks for having me.
This has been a 13 ABC Action News presentation.